Let's go. Shout out to Half Man, Half Amazing. Let's go, Playboy. I see you. About to get that jersey retired, huh? I see you. Shout out to Vince Carter. It's about that time. Hall of Fame career. He's going to get that jersey retired with the family the way it's supposed to be. Where else is he going to get that jersey retired? It ain't going to look right in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? It ain't going to look right in all the other 15 other teams he played for. It only look right with the family. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him. And it's about that time, man. It's about that time. It's going to be, I know it's going to be emotional for him because it's really going to be full circle for him. And it's going to honestly be that one of those moments when you realize it's actually over. You know what I mean? Like you get these little spurts when you realize that it's over, but I think once that jersey gets retired, it's gonna set in that I had a great career and it's done. You know what I mean? Hall of Fame is great. Being a Hall of Famer, that's dope. You know what I mean? There's a lot that goes into that and a lot of work. But that team that has your heart and the fan base that you've grown with and matured with and, have a relationship with, for better or for worse, you kind of hold on to that also, and sometimes a little bit more than that jacket. You know what I mean? But shout out to him, man. You always want to see the players that you watch coming up, and you had that they grew up as you grew up, and you kind of like to see a good ending. You know what I mean? He's by far. I'm gonna tell you the truth. By far, Vince Carter is the most athletically gifted player I've ever seen. Mind you, I've been watching the NBA I've been watching the NBA since 85? Seriously, since 85. You know what I mean? When I was aware of basketball and what it was, you know, I'm not going back to the infancy because I didn't know what I was watching. You know what I mean? But 85 is when I really started to be aware of what I was watching and players that I was watching. And by far the most athletically gifted player I've ever seen. Anywhere. Anywhere. More athletic than Mike, more athletic than Dominique, more athletic than Doc, more athletic than David Thompson. You know what I mean? Like he set the bar so high it'll never be touched again by anybody. That conversation of like pure, God-given ability, there's going to be a limitation. It's going to be the humans and it's going to be Vince Carter. You know what I mean? So it's never going to be a conversation of is anyone even close to Vince Carter athletically. We've never seen anything like him. By far the greatest dunker. I never thought anybody would be able to dunk better than Mike and Dominique. You know what I mean? Then you have these in-game dunks from various people throughout the, my 30-some-odd years, 40 years of watching basketball. And then Vince Carter is like, it ain't even close, the shit he was doing on the court off the bounce. It wasn't even close. It was just another level, man. And the entertainment value, you can't even, because the entertainment value that they hold on to and they clamor for, like he would have been an easy $600-700 million player over his career. Like he made some paper, but these young boys, they getting what he was getting in his career in a contract. Like you put his game, like we always talk about whose game translate, what game translate, who would do what in this era. Vince Carter would be the man in this era. Just like he was the man when he was playing before. His athleticism just put him on another level. And now with the way as soft as the defender has to be, because they want to maintain the entertainment value momentum and the social relevancy of the NBA and of teams individually and players individually, Vince Carter would have a field day. Y'all would swear he was the second coming of Mike. We were saying that back then, but then after that dunk contest, we was like, even Mike was like, nah, yeah, he's different. When he come off 2 feet or 1 foot, like when he decide to bounce, it's over. Ain't much you could do. He made it look like he was playing on a bitty rim, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because he's playing against the best players in the world. But you love to see this ending. You know what I mean? Watching how everything went down from start to finish with the Raptor organization and him, you wanted to be this bookend to bookend, ending. You know what I mean? He understands that it has to be, hashed out and made right in order for him to walk away from this game. And he talked about it throughout his, after he retired and he was on TV. He knows what's right. You know what I mean? He was a 6-time All-Star with the Raptors. You know what I mean? And the Raptors were relevant socially and competitive on the court with him as the face. You know what I mean? And he was a threat and the Raptors were a threat. And they had a certain presence in the Eastern Conference. It was a problem. And when they took AI and them to Game 7, it could have easily have been the Raptors going to the finals against Kobe and them. You know what I mean? So it was that thing, and it went kind of left-ish, because when you have a player of his caliber, you expect him to want to take on a certain responsibility and carry it a certain way. You know what I mean? And nobody wants to. I don't think we're ever going to see someone who truly wants to be a franchise player. They want to get paid like a franchise player. They want to be a franchise player in conversation, but they don't want to deal with those responsibilities on and off the court. Michael Jordan was one of the best to ever do it. Kobe Bryant was also AI. He tried his best. But nobody really wants that responsibility. No player wants that, because they want certain freedoms and certain liberties, and they want to have a little space to be imperfect. You know what I mean? It's a very tough tightrope to walk. And when the lights were the brightest in the NBA, from that 99 to maybe 2007, the lights were the brightest in entertainment. And David Stern was still alive. And once Mike retired, it went to another level. It wasn't stagnant. It went to another level. It connected with hip hop as far as branding and marketing. And it really became this massive explosion as hip hop grew into the next phase and next level of greatness. So did the NBA. And Vince Carter was there. And when you think about him being the face of the Raptors, I kind of know what the thought process was for him, as far as him wanting to come back to America a little bit more, because the parties was going. Like I talk about that era from 99 to 2000. The party era, the party scene spawned this new realm of entertainment. That's how they're still talking about fucking Pete. Like Diddy is still getting, like, he's been exonerated of that from that era, but the conversations started in that era. That 99 to 2007, that pocket, the culture shift, the TV, platforms taking on this new dynamic of reality TV shows. Those were all the people at those parties. Everybody that you see on these reality shows, whether it be real hip hop, basketball wives, Love and Hip Hop, all that shit, they were all in the party scene. Everybody was in Miami, everybody was in LA, everybody was in Texas, everybody was in Atlanta partying. These are the same people that was partying, same group of people at the Puffy, at them Diddy parties. And the NBA players were in the middle of that also. So I can understand him being 22, 23, 24, wanting to be in the scene. And I'm quite sure he indulged and enjoyed some of the some of the culture benefits. He was homesick, and he didn't want the responsibility of carrying, you know what I mean, a franchise and a country. He didn't understand the significance and how important it was for Toronto and Canada to have that face, that ambassador. He didn't want it. So he ends up, it ends up being this thing where, is he giving up on the team, or he wants to go someplace else? I think it was the parties. It was the lifestyle. Because if the party scene back then was crazy in Toronto like it is now, with Carnival and all that, like, he wouldn't have left. He would have stayed. A lot of that had to do with the parties and the fun and the lifestyle and the festivities. He ain't want to miss out. Because he already got money. He can go and chill in the summer, but there was parties throughout. There was parties in like throughout the season, and he was missing out on some of that. He was out of step with that. I can understand. It might weigh in and be a part of the decision that he made, and him ending up in Jersey. If I was him, I'd have just stayed. Like he could have just stayed in Toronto. It didn't make no sense to leave. He had his reasons for leaving, but nigga, that wasn't the right time. Shit, the Raptors were hotter than fish grease. They could have figured something out. There's still moves and players. Like the NBA was still kind of wide open on the Eastern front. The Eastern Conference was still open. Him teaming up with once he teamed up with Jason Kidd, it was Jason Kidd's team. He kind of just faded to the background and kind of disappeared year by year. No matter how good he played, he just wasn't. It wasn't the same as when he was a Raptor. It just wasn't. You know what I mean? And when people think of Vince Carter, they think of him as a Raptor. They don't think about the other 27 teams he played for. Not even the Nets so much as the Raptors. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Number 15. That's it. Half man, half amazing. That's it. And that's what people are going to always remember him as. And when you think about his career, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I heard about him when I was living in Tallahassee. They told me about this kid from Daytona who can jump out of a gym that's on top of a gym. They were like, you gotta see him. Then he ends up at North Carolina, and they're like, yo, that's the kid we was telling you about. That kid is incredible. Because in Tallahassee in the Civic Center, they used to have the state championship. And he played and he did some shit. And I finally got a chance to see the highlights years later. But they talked about him like the only person that I can honestly say that you could think about as far as athleticism is probably Earl Manigault. That's the only person you can think of because Earl Manigault is like that. It's a folklore, the shit that they said he was doing. Taking quarters off the top of the backboard, taking $1, putting 4 quarters on top of the back. Crazy. There's just incredible stories. Wish there was fucking videos of this shit. So when I think of Vince and his athleticism and the way that they talked about him, and he was like, yo, he also in the band. Like, this nigga just, I'm like, where he in the band too? Like, yeah, this is, and then you see him and you like, that kid is good. Things he did at North Carolina was like, okay, electrifying. Then he gets to the league and it just goes to another level. You just see the elevation of a guy and the stardom that he got. I don't think anybody's ready for that. And the responsibility, like that's a big ass responsibility. And this is, like I said, and it's during the era of that run, that East Coast hip hop run, that 99 to 2000, then you going into the Dirty South era, then you going into, you know what I mean? Like them parties and them festivities and those moments is just like being away from college and you hearing about all the stuff that's going on in the city that you're from and you like, shit, I'm missing it. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if some of that shit weighed on him. He wanted to be in the mix. He wanted to be in the know. He missing out on parties. He missing out on the fun. He missing out on the festivities. And, we get it. We're all young at one point, but when you look at it, you kind of wish he did stay. You don't know how it could have worked out. And at that point in time, Toronto needed that ambassador for basketball. They needed that voice. But him being there was enough to ignite the fire to where we are today. Canada is a basketball force. With all the young talent that's going to college and all the opportunities they're taking advantage of stateside to play college ball, to get the college experience, get degrees, meet people, hoop. These are opportunities we used to take advantage of. Now everybody wants to do something else. You know what I mean? Whether it be social media or whatever it is, but they're keeping basketball alive to a certain extent. But I see New York listen, a lot of the heavy hitters in the 90s are definitely cementing themselves in the minds and the hearts of the young kids now. And they have a legacy that they're aware of, that they have to uphold, because New York is always going to be New York as far as hooping is concerned. It's always going to be the Mecca. But we got to compete to get that crown. You know what I mean? It's everywhere else. Everywhere else got a crown. LA got a crown. Canada got a crown. You know what I mean? The South, everybody got their own players, and we got to come through and let it be known. Listen, we back outside. We back outside. It ain't just about Dykeman. It ain't just about 55th. It ain't just about You know what I mean? Playing in 100 college like it used to be. It's about, listen, we got to get back out there and really go to these other places and let them know, listen, we back outside. We back outside. Our cousins in the North, we got to let them know we back outside. You know what I'm saying? But Vince Carter ignited that run in the and one run. It ignited a run in a more creative style of basketball. And it was just, everything was there together, creating the kids that we see now. Those are the babies that were watching the and one mixtapes and the and one shit on ESPN and watching Vince and watching AI and Steph and Big Ticket and everybody grow up. So by the time they retired, these kids are in their early 20s. These are the babies that had a chance to watch that. Then you got the babies that had a chance to watch, Gilbert Arenas and Kobe and all them. Like afterwards, like it's going to be, the evolution of the game is definitely upon us. But it started, as far as Canada is concerned, Vince, because it was always hockey. You had the Canadian Football League. Basketball wasn't as prominent, and look at it now. He played a part in that, and in retiring his jersey is kind of playing tribute to the part he did play in the basketball culture in Canada and the inspiration that he did, provide. Even though it wasn't perfect, it wasn't a perfect, exit, and it wasn't a perfect relationship. But sometimes you think, what if Tracy McGrady and fucking Vince would have stayed? Because the only thing that stopped it was ego. You know what I mean? Tracy McGrady, I want my own team. Yeah, all right, you couldn't even get out the first round. You should have just stayed with the Raptors because they got it going. They could have possibly went to the finals with both of them. Easy. It's just the ego and young people not understanding how important certain positions are and how special they are until you get older. And I think he understands that now, like how important that situation was. And nobody understands and wants to take on that type of responsibility at fucking 23, 24, 25. You just want to enjoy having money, especially then during that time. That Sean John era, that Rockaway era, that 50 Cent era. Like, you wanted to be outside. If you had a couple M's, you wanted to be outside, yo. You wanted to be outside. You wanted to be seen. It wasn't no social media like it is now. It was, you had to be seen. You wanted to go to the BMF parties. You wanted to see the Tiger. You know what I mean? You wanted to see the fur coats. You wanted to see these chicks and you wanted to see all these old head chicks, basketball. They was young. They was the young Thadalinas back in the day, running around. Bad as shit. When Juicy Couture and Fat Fall. Yeah, man. Now they daughters is outside. But the reality is, it's like I understand what his mind, where his mind could have been, what kind of weighed into the decision, that small fraction of that played a part in him leaving. But he still ended up having a Hall of Fame career. But the Raptors got their championship. So everybody got what they wanted. It's different when everybody gets what they want, kinda. Because I'm quite sure he looks at it like, and they're looking at him like, this is what we wanted for you. We wanted a championship for you. We wanted this. We wanted all this sooner. Instead of going 2019, we could have had that probably 10 years sooner. We could have figured that out. You know what I'm saying? Like we still got there. He still got his Hall of Fame, but it's not. You can't compare. Like everybody got what they wanted. He'll be remembered, but a championship is a championship. Everybody got what they wanted out this one, and it rarely happens that way. It rarely happens where everybody ends up happy with what they got out of the deal. You know what I'm saying? The Raptors got their legacy. One more championship for the Raptors. One more championship for the family, and it's solidified forever. One championship gets everybody's attention. Like, yo, we really ain't nobody. We ain't fucking around. That second one, yeah, we home. Which room is ours? Which room is ours? And when y'all make these NBA decisions, you make sure you call us too, and you call us early. We want to hear everything you're doing, Adam. This is the second chip. You see it. It's the second chip. You know the number. Tap in. You know what I mean? Before you make a decision about the NBA, to check in and see what we doing, and we can figure it out together and get paid. But it's beautiful, man. And there's you have this player who's a winner, but he's not a champion. And you have a franchise that enjoyed incredible winning and won the championship and is chasing after and hunting down that second one. The saga continues for both, but the relationship that the two had together is to be remembered and appreciated for better or for worse. There's lessons to be learned. And when you look at Scotty and you think about the two other Floridians who play for the Raptors and how they went their ways based off different reasons, you just kind of keep that in the back of your mind like, all right, but it's a different time. It ain't the BMF party era, the Diddy era, you know what I mean? It ain't that era. It ain't Sunny. It ain't MTV. It ain't BET. It ain't VH1. It ain't like that. It ain't like that era. A lot of y'all kids will never know what that era is like. Y'all missed it. Like, y'all really missed some shit, man. BET Uncut, like Girls Going Wild. Like, you missed a lot. Y'all missed them. Y'all missed the best times. By the time y'all got it's over. We done put out, ain't no more potato salad left. Ain't no more macaroni and cheese left. Ain't nothing left. We done killed the barbecue. Good luck with what's left. Trying to reinvent with the little scraps that's left. And it's all good, but it'll never be like, and we understand him wanting to be a part of the festivities. Because I'm not saying I would have made that decision. I don't know what I would have done in that situation. But I know I'd have thought about it. I'd have thought about it. Because, whew, them times were times. You know what I'm saying? Those times were times. And you don't think of your legacy at 25, 24, 26. You don't think about you like, I got millions of dollars in the bank. And these, what? They where? During the season, they in Miami, that party, the Jamie Foxx parties, all these other celebrity parties is going on year round. They all meeting in different places, flying. Man, listen, having these, yeah. Everybody was having their little parties. Some parties were bigger than others, but everybody was having their little parties. Everybody. So don't let them niggas say, oh, it was just him. No, it wasn't, nigga. All y'all was having them parties. Independently by yourself, but y'all know how to hide those skeletons. It ain't get too crazy, but it got something. Yeah, yeah. I see. There's a lot of video footage and a lot of video cameras and no longer in storage. Shit is in the safe deposit box. Yeah, but Vince definitely is gonna always be remembered as a Raptor, and that's just how it's gonna be for me. I don't like. Of course, he played for the other 75 teams in the NBA, but I'm not gonna remember that. I don't know. He's a Raptor. That's all I know him as. Number 15. That's the only jersey, and that's the only jersey they sell. When they talk about him as a Raptor, that's the only jersey they sell. They don't talk about them other teams and look at the number he had. Nope, 15. But let's be honest. Sometimes you're not prepared for that to be that thing. And this is coming off of Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? This is before Kobe became, you know what I'm saying? Kobe was number 8 at this point. He's like a young kid. But when Vince took off, it was like they wanted him to fill that slot in the Eastern Conference. They wanted him to be something that maybe, he didn't want to be and he didn't know how to be. Mike didn't even know he was going to be Mike. He was just being himself. And you can't, like, it's hard for people to understand, like, when you just want to be you, it's hard for you to try to pretend to be somebody else. You don't know what made them that way. You don't know how they, you know what I mean? You don't have an idea. You can't fucking cosplay and and method act your way into being having someone else's mentality, because everybody has a different reason for thinking the way that they think and doing the things that they do and saying the shit that they say. Everybody has a reason. Michael Jordan was motivated from, his own reasons. He was just being him. You can't just have people and want them to be Mike. You want them, and Kobe was trying to imitate a 30-year-old Mike. Not like that dude I watched in 84, 85, 86, 87. Ain't nobody touching that. Ain't nobody touching that player. Kobe was imitating the old Mike, 30-year-old, 30-plus bald-headed Mike, old Mike. Trying to figure out what a grown, but when he was young, he was a tyrant. He was a problem. And you don't know where that came from, why he was so competitive, why he was like, you can't. You can't figure that out. And Vince understood I can only be Vince. And you know, we'll never know why he didn't want to step into that place. And a lot of people are accusing him of he's just not that guy. Well, nobody is. It's only one Mike. That man was a psychotic winner. When it came to winning, he was psychotic. He was a mania. It's different. Winning was the only thing that got rewarded back in the day. And as things evolved more into entertainment, whoever became the most socially relevant, the one who was the most entertaining, they got praised just like the champion did. Now you can't really tell a difference. You got the Celtics and the Nuggets won a championship. Don't nobody even care. LA won a championship in the bubble. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. People only care about what's relevant socially. What's popping? What's the good news? You know what I mean? What's going on? Where's the drama at? Where's the conflict? Where's the conversation headed? People only care about what's interesting and who can make it interesting. It's not a lot of gifted people. People are just repeating whatever's being said. They're not interesting enough to make the conversation interesting. But it's about being socially relevant. It's not about winning anymore. It's not about being honestly, it's about winning enough to be socially relevant. It's not about being a champion anymore. Back in the day, the champions wore the crown and got treated like kings. Now those who are just more popular than others get treated like kings, whether they're a champion or not. You know what I mean? But you know, Vince did what he was supposed to do. He played the game the way he could play it. He made decisions that he got to live with. Sometimes you got to live with regrets. It's just how it is. You know what I mean? And like I said, this relationship wasn't perfect, but it was just an excellent example of what the NBA life is. You can reconcile. You can have conversations. It's never as long as the door is open for conversation. There should be a ferocious attempt to make things right and to have a good relationship and a good reality when each of you are in the room. You know what I mean? But sometimes you're gonna think, what if? What if it did work out? What if they both stayed? And you know what I mean? They with both of them, because at one point Tracy McGrady was considered better than Kobe. Kobe just knew the importance of winning. So he figured he got where they brought Phil Jackson back. That's what saved Kobe. That's the only thing that saved Kobe's career was Phil Jackson. You take Phil Jackson out of the equation, what kind of career does anybody really have? Mike is still Mike. Mike is still Mike without Phil Jackson. Mike had the crown without Phil Jackson. Everybody after Mike that had Phil Jackson, without Phil Jackson, you can't even imagine their careers. Shaq was the exception also. Shaq was Shaq before he got with Phil Jackson. Everybody else was just, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great situation though. I'm looking forward to that speech and I'm looking forward to that moment. It's a great situation. But you know, you just think what if, but you accept the reality of the situation. You're just happy that everything is in a good space. Every player don't want to live up to our fantasies. Every player don't want to live up to what we think they should be. They have their own visions. They have their own dreams. They have their own lane. They have their own, you know, way of doing things. We got to respect that. It has to be respected. We can't want it more than they want it for themselves. As much as we are spectators, we have to understand we have to leave that big gap open for reality to seep in because our fantasies will have us clouded. The reality is anything can happen. And they're people and they're young. Their frontal lobes aren't even developed. They're young. They're learning how to have money, how to be the man in their world. For the first time ever, they're no longer children who got to answer to somebody. Now everybody seems to be yesing them and answering to them. It's a different lifestyle. You know what I mean? And there's expectations that come along with that and anxieties. Some people they want to deal with the ecstasy, not the stress that comes with it. And being the face of a franchise is stressful. It's a lot of responsibility. You know what I mean? So I can understand at that point in time with all that shit that was going on in entertainment, he probably might have wanted to hang out a little more and be looser and not have that. That's why he went and played with Jason Kidd. So now he doesn't have any real. He has the responsibility that he can handle. Everybody can't, like, nobody can handle being the face of a franchise nowadays. As much as these kids try to lie to your face and be like, yeah, I want to be they really don't even know what that means. You're young. You don't even know what it's like to pay your own bills. You don't even have kids. You don't have any real responsibility. Being the face of something, being the inspiration and the motivation for someone else is big. You can't let the family go hungry ever. You have to sacrifice to make sure that they got. How much are you willing to give up to make sure that their dreams can still survive? I think the mission was too big for him. And I don't think anybody is built for that. Mike ain't even know, like, that was going to be that. It was 84. Like, there wasn't no real expectation for him. They thought he was going to be a bust. They didn't think he was going to be the man. It wasn't until the first 3-4 months of the season, you was like, oh, this kid is different. But other than that, they didn't really expect much. Because there was this guy called Lim Bias who was coming right after the next season, number 1 pick. If he doesn't pass, it's a lot of interesting conversations that we get to have. But shout out to Vince Carter. It's time. It's the right time. We're going in a new direction as a franchise, as a family. And it is what it is, man. Let's keep moving forward. Good energy. I hope they burn some sage or something. Get the vibes right. We need the vibes right for the season. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. You already know who it is. I'm out of here. Peace.